All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining the session today, and it's another study session. And I hope you are doing very fine, very great. And from here, I'm joining you from Ibadan, Nigeria. I would like you to join me to share where you are joining from in the chat box, wherever you are, and I hope you had a great day at work. Mine wasn't bad, but I do frequently on Monday and Tuesday. I come home early to join these wonderful sessions to learn. So I'm back home. I hope you are too all preparing. So, welcome, Christiana Stanley from Lagos, Nigeria. It's glad to have you. Great, great. Hi, Naibi. Thank you for joining this session. Great to have you. Great to have you. Uh, please, let's just wait just to hear more response from people before we commence. Okay. Oh, thank you. It's glad to know that you are joining from Lagos, Naibi. All right. Presenter Z, hello too. Hi. Where are you joining from? Okay. All right, so thank you everyone as we await others to join. So I'd just like to uh, let you know, as you've seen in our communication channels, that today we'll be talking about implementing automated recovery process to meet RTO and RPO requirements. You should trust me. RTO and RPO requirement is not something and any organization want to joke with. And really, we have someone with great expertise in this area that is going to come and speak on it, and it's going to be an interesting one. And briefly, I will be introducing the speaker, and the speaker for today is no other person than Raphael Gab-Momoh. And as a form of just to let you know, like it's your expectation, knowing the person who is capable to handle this topic has been brought forward, is a versatile DevOps engineer, practitioner and cloud engineer with years of experience. So when you hear someone with years of experience, please, whatever that person says, don't joke. They've seen it all. So, and he is always seeking to leverage proven continuous deployment skills to raise quality outcomes. He has skills in Node.js, Haskell, Python programming, back-end Python programming, and in the past he has worked on in different roles, which has, based on his years of experience, he has served as a technical support system administrator. He has done data engineering roles and back-end web development. So Raphael has worked on solutions that met reliability, low latency, high availability, and security best practices using open source tools such as Git, Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and others. So, mere listening to what our speaker for today has worked with and in different roles, I'm very sure you should get prepared to listen to our speaker for today. Hi, Raphael. Is glad to see you.
Thank you. Thank
Hello,
you. So
Raphael. Can you hear
just
me?
short. Yes,
Yeah,
I can hear you. You
yeah.
said you
It's
should
it.
just shorten it. You said so much. But thank you for the
Okay. No, no. It's necessary so that our audience can know that they have something valuable to grab for today. So, Raphael, can you just highlight briefly what you intend to give us today?
okay. So we are Nigerians. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
not sure if anyone is watching us from overseas, but if you are a Nigerian, we are used to NEPA taking light. We're used to failures, but in the cloud, okay, we're talking about cloud now. We are all here because we are all interested in
Let's
cloud.
give.
So, what do you do when there is a disaster? What do you do when there is a failure? So today's topic is going to tell you the things to watch out for with regards to disaster recovery, and how to make sure that you, in case there is a disappointment, you don't lose all. That's just what we're going to talk about today.
Wow, wow. The intro has even done a lot, and I'm so expecting to hear from you. And I'm very sure others, such as Taiwa Adefala and every other person joining us, will be looking forward. Um, Without further ado, I want you to go ahead. So I want everyone to join me as I've taken my pen and my book, and let's start jotting what Raphael has for us. So, Raphael, you have the stage. All
Yes,
right.
problem. I'm going to be sharing my screen in a short while. Although this slide is a little bit different from what I have now, but I'll just go with this one. Okay. So my name is Raphael, as he has said. I'm your fellow servant and journey mate in this journey. So today, as I said earlier on, we are going to be talking about very, very important concepts with regards to the cloud. Okay. Now, as you all know, the reason why people go to the cloud is because they want to save money. Okay. You don't just go to cloud because, yeah, you want to save money because you do not want to have your own data center. You don't want to have electricity running 24 hours. You don't want to have your internet running 24 hours. You don't want to have your cooling running 24 hours, and you don't want to pay staff to maintain those things. So you want to go pay as you go, and you want your application to run, and you don't want to disappoint people. What happens? What if, as you are in the cloud, okay, failure happens, disaster happens? So I was watching the news sometime earlier this year, and there was a massive flood in a place like Aba. Okay, massive flood. Houses were drenched in the flood. What happens if you have a company and that company is in that spot? Okay, what happens to you? What happens to your business? What happens to your customer? So those are the few points that we are going to be looking at. So now, with regards to the topic at hand, there are two major concepts that we need to know: RPO and RTO. And what are these? Okay. The first one, RPO, is recovery point objective. The second one is recovery time objective. Okay, so one of them has to do with the data loss. RPO, RPO has to do with how much data are you willing to, how much data are you willing to lose in case of a disaster? In case, okay, you've decided to go to the cloud. Now, I was speaking with an executive of Virgin Media UK. Okay, they're fully in the cloud and they are trying to save cost. What happens if, since they decided they want to go fully into the cloud, and all of a sudden disaster? How much data are they willing to lose when so many other businesses are dependent on them? Okay, so as a cloud practitioner, you should take note of this point. Okay, you're supposed to take note of this point. You're supposed to be aware of this, because it would not do you any justice if you don't. Okay, now, second one, how much data are you willing to lose? Now, the second thing you should ask, okay, in case disaster happens and you are fully vested into the cloud, how much time? Okay, how much time? Like, let's take, for example, we're in Nigeria, NEPA takes light, you want to go on the generator, and there is a party going on in the background. How much time, okay, are you willing to recover from that loss? Within that time that NEPA have taken light and you have party going on, you have people in the background, what happens? Okay, so that's with regards to time, that one is called a recovery time objective. So you need to know your recovery point objective and recovery time objective with regards to disaster if you are fully vested in the cloud. So let's move ahead and see what other surprises we have for this lecture. Now, firstly, let's look at RPO, recovery point objective. So you need to be able to, as a cloud practitioner, or as a cloud engineer, or as a DevOps engineer, you need to be fully willing to know how much data you're willing to lose. Okay, let's say, okay, I remember, I think it was about 2 years ago, MTN went off for a whole 6 hours. Okay, now a lot of us that are in this space, we work remotely from home. Just imagine if I was in the middle of a very, very critical migration and NEPA takes light for 6 hours, and MTN also goes off for 6 hours. Okay, what happens? What happens? Okay, so now you need to be able to state, okay, how much data you are willing to lose in case something like this happen. Okay, you need to know it to the very, very granular level, because different organizations will have different amount of data that they are willing to lose. So let's see the other critical factor, the recovery time. So yes, like I said earlier on, you are in a party, all of a sudden light goes off. Okay, but this time around, we're not talking about party. We are in the cloud. You've decided to let go of the traditional way of doing things. You're fully vested in the cloud. Everything, you depend solely on the cloud. In case there is a disaster, okay, in case the data center goes crazy, I mean, it gets blown up by terrorists, and the data center gets blown up by terrorists, and you did not save your data in a second. You didn't push to a second availability zone, because maybe probably you were considering the cost. So what are you going to do? Okay, what are you going to do? So now the RTO can be a very complex system for applications, and let's see why that is in the next slide. Okay, so now it's not just about recovery. Okay, there has to be a balance. Okay, now I can say, oh, it's good, NEPA took light, I quickly went to turn on the gen. Okay, I've recovered. But in the cloud is different. Okay, because if you are recovering too quick, okay, there's also going to be a trade-off. Okay, as the RTO is reduced, the more the cost, okay, and the complexity to achieve it. So there has to be a balance. Okay, now RTO should be different for every particular application. Would have their own different RTOs, because if you can't just say you want to go do it fast, because there, like I said earlier on, there is always a trade-off in any of these actions that you are taking in the cloud. Okay, so let's move forward and see. uh, okay, so before we go on, before you do okay, now I don't know if I'm going too fast, but I'd like you to know that the reason why we are doing all this is because, okay, disaster happens, you do not want to lose all. Okay, nobody wants to lose all. Nobody wants to no, nobody wants to lose all. So let's say let me paint a scenario for you. Before you went to the cloud, probably you were having your own data center. You were on premise. Okay, let's say on premise. Before you decide to recover the application, there's a disaster. What are the steps that you're going to take? Now, in a traditional data center, you need to recover your routers, your switches, your operating system. Probably you need to your firewall, your domain system that you use for authentication. You need to recover those ones first before you even think of recovering the application. And because of this, the RTO for on-premise is going to be a little bit lower. Okay, it's going to be a little bit lower than if you were in the cloud. So now let's look at if you were in the cloud. Okay, it's a little bit different, because okay, so no. So if you are in the cloud, it's a little bit different, because you have the power of AWS doing everything for you. Okay, you can save your components in multiple regions. You can use OS deployments with Amazon Machine Image. You can back up your data in different ways, and all that and all that. So it's a little bit different in the cloud. So that's why we're having this conversation. Okay, so now, we can group all those components together. Okay, so now we are ready for the cloud, because like I told you earlier on premise will be different, in the cloud will be different. So before you say you want to really go in for RT and RPO, you need to have targets. Okay, now in AWS it's a little bit different, and it's a little bit even more exciting. Okay, AWS has this thing they call uh, AWS Resilience Hub. Okay, so it helps customers to be able to, like, closely achieve their RPO and RTO targets. So you need to be able to know what you're working towards. Okay, so you need to be able to know what your the targets and what you're working towards. You need to speak with your stakeholders and analyze the risk of a downtime. Okay, you need to really analyze the risk of a downtime. Like I told you earlier on, even if there is a downtime, you can't just rush. I mean, rushing to recover might have some consequences because there's always a trade-off. So there are certain questions that you need to ask. Okay, so and some of them will be what is the impact. Okay, what is the impact if this application is unavailable? So you need to really know the impact if your application goes off for 10 minutes. Or just let's imagine, like I was telling you earlier on, MTN. Okay, I was working remotely that time. MTN went off for 6 hours. 6 hours. MTN was nowhere to be found. It's a serious matter because you can even go on YouTube. You can Google it. The CEO later on came and he apologized, and I think he gave a lot of people he gave people incentives for what they did. Okay, he tried to apologize in a very funny way. Okay, so now, so you need to really ask, what is the implication in case our application go off? So like your bank cannot just go off like that. Okay, your bank cannot just say, oh, you're using Kuda. Let's say you are Access-More. Okay, most of us have Access Bank. Using Access-More just goes off for 4 hours. That's so. So as a cloud engineer, you need to analyze and say, okay, what is the impact if this application really goes off? What are the financial costs per hour? Or does this application have an SLA internal to customers? Are there any compliance or regulatory things that we're supposed to look at? So those are the checks that you're supposed to make for your recovery time objective. Okay, so let's look at your recovery point objective. So like I told you earlier on, recovery point objective basically will deal with the amount of data that you're willing to lose. So like when that time when MTN went off for when MTN went off for that 6 hours, I can tell you it affected a lot of things. Okay, internally, they definitely will lose a lot of money. Then for us, the customers that are using it, just imagine I'm working remotely and I'm in the middle of a very, very critical migration and I'm the team lead. Okay, and I go off for 6 hours, and I just imagine if I don't have a backup router then. Okay, and probably maybe maybe then I was using there's this box I was using that MTN is also I bought from MTN. It's this MTN Solar. Okay, so just imagine my data is off. Okay, I can't browse. My electricity because MTN is having issues. That one too goes off. Okay, because it actually uses MTN signal, the solar. So just imagine how bad, it will be for people like me, and eventually the company as a whole. So we need to look at, before you take on these steps, you need to look at the impact of data loss for the application. You need to look at the financial cost per hour, the reputational damage it's going to cause. Okay, because it definitely caused a lot of reputational damage for MTN. That's why they came up and the CEO sent a message and he apologized. Okay, they apologized. They gave people some some data. I think they gave people some data. And how will a data loss, okay, how will a disaster affect our data change? Okay, now, so these are some of the things that we're supposed to look at before taking these steps in the cloud. So let me move a little bit forward. I can see there's a message in the chat box. Do I have a question? Okay, I think I don't have a question. I'm gonna continue. Okay, so so far so good. I've given us a little bit of a background story. The fact that we are in the cloud, we don't have anywhere else to go because we decided we don't want to pay for 24 hours electricity, because on premise, if you're on premise, you need to pay for 24 hours electricity. You need to pay for 24 hours cooling. You need to pay for 24 hours internet. I mean, if you're having a private cloud. Okay, if you're having a private cloud. Now I visited a friend's company recently, and I tell you, the place was so cold. Look, if you stayed in Jos before, it was colder than Jos. Okay, literally freezing. Why would that be? Because they're not using the cloud, they're using on premise. They cannot afford to shut the systems down. They can't afford not to have the cooling, because if they turn off the cooling, the chips in the servers might get heated up and get burnt off, and replacement is always in millions. Okay, so just see that you're not in the cloud, you're paying for all these things, but you decide to go to the cloud and disaster happens. What do you do? Okay, so we're looking at the things to consider: recovery time objective and recovery point objective. So I've given us all the background story. Now we slowly entering into the main thing itself. Okay, the significance of automated recovery. What is the benefit of automated recovery? Because at the end of the day, you want to be able to recover. Okay, you want to be able to recover from any data loss, putting into checks your RPO and RTO. So the significance, one of the things we'll first of all look at is the speed. Okay, automated recovery process can help to execute things quickly and even more accurately. Okay, so for example, in the case of a data center failure, automatic failover systems can switch to backup a data center within just seconds, and this will meet your RTO objectives. Okay, so like I said earlier on, you might want to check some things before you write your objectives. Okay, we checked that we looked at that in the checks. You might have targets, and the good thing about AWS is that AWS has put into place AWS Resilience Hub that will help customers meet their RTO and RPO targets. Now, another point we should look at is that the significance of automated recovery is that it will help you eliminate human errors. You know that we are humans. We tend to forget things. We tend to be lazy. We tend to break down. Definitely, automated system is error prone and can do things while the system will do things with experience and learning. The more it does, the more it learns, and the more accurate it is. Okay, automation will make it more consistent, and with automation we can even add monitoring to it, and we can have real-time visibility into our environment and all that. So let's move forward and see what else. Okay, so now I think that I'm going to finish early. So this is slide number 11. Let's talk about the various steps that you might want to take if you are implementing automated RTO and RPO. So one of the steps is that you want to do a risk assessment. Okay, you want to check thoroughly to identify potential threats and vulnerability, and so as to be able to know your requirements. Now, before you draw your targets, you need to know your requirements, and you cannot know your requirements until you do all your risk assessments. Okay, now secondly, and the good thing about AWS, there are so many tools to help you achieve this. Okay, now the next thing is you need to choose the right tools. Okay, you need to choose the right tools. Choosing your recovery tool and technology that aligns with your organizational need and budget. There are so many open source tools out there, and you know that AWS is big into open source. So you might not necessarily use what AWS is providing. You might go to the marketplace and choose an open source tool. It's fine, but you need to know that you need to choose the right tool, and you choose the tool that fits into what your organization is doing. Okay, now the next thing, after doing your assessment, after choosing your tool, data backup and replication. So you need to implement a robust backup and replication strategy to ensure that you have data availability. Okay, like I told you earlier on, if you did not do backup, let's assume that we were operating in Aba, and maybe probably we're using a data center that is private. Okay, now remember that a private cloud would tend to want to behave like a public cloud in an on-premise environment. So let's assume that we were staying in Abia State, no, Anambra State. Okay, I watched the flood; it was really terrible. Houses were submerged. Okay, I think this happened early this year or late last year. I was looking at the local news and I was wow. Okay, so you need to implement a robust. So just imagine if you were there and you did not back up, what is going to happen to you? So it's important to implement a robust data availability. We use technologies like continuous data protection and synchronous replication for critical systems. Okay, so I'm going to move to the next so that we see what other thing that we have. Okay, so now another step, if you want to do an automated RTO and RPO for your company, you need to make sure that you have failover and backup, failover and failback procedures. Okay, so you need to develop very clear ones for both your on-premise and your cloud-based environment to ensure that the procedures are as well automated as possible. Okay, so everything has to be uh, accounted for. Okay, so not just that, you need to put in place testing and validation. Okay, so regular test your recovery processes to ensure that you meet your RTO and RPO objectives. Okay, you document the results and make necessary improvements. Okay, so you cannot just say, okay, because I tested it last year, this is last year December, this is already like this year December is just 2 months away. Oh, you still say everything is fine? No, everything is not fine. It has to be regular, it has to be continuous, it has to be, yeah. So you need to always test because you don't know, anything can happen these days. Okay, now another very important step is that you need to do training. Okay, you need to do training and you need to document. Okay, now documentation is important because like you have a deployment plan. Yeah, documentation is important, so that the team, people that are in your team or new members of your team would know how to follow along, we know how to work with whatever you've done or how to be carried along so that nobody is left in the dark. Okay, now another very important thing you need to look at also is security. Okay, you need to implement security measures around your automated recovery process to ensure that the processes are protected against data manipulations and all that. Okay, so let's see still on how to do this. Okay, now uh, regular maintenance. Okay, so like I said earlier on, you cannot just say, okay, I did this 2 months ago and leave it there like that. Okay, things change in the cloud every time, so you need to always go and review, update your recovery solution to make sure that it's keeping in place. Like they say, change is the only constant thing in life. Okay, so as we change, even in our normal lives, even in the cloud, things are changing everything every time. Your organization need might also be changing. So you need to always go back and check, that everything that you have now is in line with your organizational requirement. Or maybe your CTO got changed. The new CTO has new and brilliant ideas. You want to implement them into your recovery process. You need to look into that. Okay, now we also have incident response planning. Okay, you need to integrate this into your overall plan, so and ensure that every stakeholder, every person in the organization is carried along during a disaster, because no man, yeah, everyone has to be, every department usually is carried along during a disaster. Okay, there has to be continuous improvement. You need to continuously monitor, and yeah, you need to continuously monitor and optimize. Okay, and get insight from real world incidents so that you can always refine your strategies. Okay, so I think that we have come a long way. I've talked and talked and talked. Maybe I was speaking too fast. The slide ended so fast. Okay, so the most important takeaways from here is that RPO and RTO, along with an automated recovery process, are very critical components of a comprehensive disaster recovery strategy. Okay, so if you have this in place, you know what you know what the objectives are. Okay, like earlier on, I told you that there needs to be certain checks for each one, and not only that, you can't just say you want to go do RTO very fast. Okay, it's on an application to application basis. Okay, Well, okay, so let me answer the question I'm seeing on the screen. Okay, from my previous slide, as often as possible, and also it depends on the strategy of the company. Okay, so let's say, like in the place where I worked until August, okay, dude, they do it every week, because it was the company where I used to work before. It was a security company. So every week you need to check, you need to check, because nobody remember the principle in the cloud. The very first principle in the cloud is that nothing is trusted. Okay, with regards to cybersecurity and the cloud, most especially, okay, you develop zero trust for everything. So you need to check every time. Okay, the place where I used to work is every week. Okay, we check every week, and you know the good thing about the cloud. You remember earlier on I compared how you do it on premise and how you do it in the cloud. In the cloud is a little bit easier because you have all these AWS tools, you have these managed services doing everything for you. So now it's continuous in the cloud because you have tools that will send you notifications. Okay, you have tools that will send you notifications. You have, yeah, you have SRE team, okay, an SRE team that is always monitoring the application. Now guys, guess what? Okay, you cannot just push an application into the cloud and leave it there. Okay, after the cloud there needs to be monitoring. So as long as there is monitoring, there are people responsible checking those infrastructure. For my place, because of the kind of operation, it was every week, but technically it is every day. Okay, it's every day because people go to work. For people, there's always an SRE, guys. There's always an SRE team that will always be on hand to check. Okay, check if there's anything wrong. Okay, so yeah, that's why Azure Monitor is there. And okay, so
Okay,
uh,
it's so great to hear from you. Thank you, Raphael. It's well, I was trying to choose between, is it the enthusiasm in which you speak or the quality of what you are saying or the slide itself. Like they are so just top notch, and I'm very sure our listeners of today have gained a lot. During this course of this study session. Like you started, sorry to disrupt you, you've answered one of the question that has been placed in the chat. And the next question that I would like you to answer now is the one placed by Samson. He asked, what are the various recovery strategies and the differential backup plan? So please, you can go ahead to answer that.
okay, so I'm going to tell you something. Okay, you are in the cloud. Okay, you are in the cloud, and you're in the cloud because you don't want to do all the spending on the maintenance. And trust me, the cloud has all the tools. Okay, I think for my yeah, the cloud has all the tools for you to do recovery. Okay, I'm not going to mention anyone because even before this lecture, I was doing my research. Okay, I was doing my research, and AWS will tell you that they do not really recommend any specific RTO and RPO plan. Okay, the thing is that it is specific. It's always specific to your organization and the application itself. Okay, but generally, every cloud platform has its own tool for backup and recovery. Okay, so they have so many in AWS, and if you're not satisfied with the one that AWS has given, you can always go to the marketplace. So let's I think I'll leave that one at that.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And like Adifala said, and like I've mentioned earlier, this actually a very great one. Adifala said it has been an explosive and insightful meeting. Thanks, Raphael. So just to let you know how much quality information that you've shared with us, and I would like our audience to still keep sharing their question that they have to ask during the course of the lecture that relates to what Raphael has presented as we are preparing for the quiz. So please let's drop our question for Raphael to answer. And one quote that I would just also like to mention that Taiwo said, which was gotten from Raphael, was trust nothing. So ensure you put everything in place while you are in cloud. So it's quiz time, guys. It's quiz time. We've listened to a very insightful lecture, and this the part of the audience to answer some questions with respect to the lecture that has been given to us. And I'm very sure you'll be looking forward to win vouchers for you to do your practice. So, please, you can see the link for the quiz has been shared. Please go to our slides and join with the code as seen on the screen, DL3A. All right, join with the DL3A, or probably um you can also share, you can also capture the barcode to join the link. I can see no one is joining yet. Guys, look at the screen and join the quiz, DL3A on our slides, or you should scan the barcode. So we'll be waiting for you guys. We have about 15 person. So we have Faj Mayo has joined. Olex, so welcome, welcome. I'm looking forward to see who will take up our wonderful prize home. So please let's join Sam. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So let's keep joining. Let's keep joining. Aha slides. The code is DLD3A, and you can also share, check, capture the barcode to join. Okay, so links about what Raphael has presented to us for us to learn more has been shared. Please ensure to copy the links and save it somewhere for referral later so that you can learn more. You know, someone was asking about some tools that can be used for this RPO, RTO automation process. So these are links that can help you gain more information about it to buttress what Raphael has shared with us. So guys, we have 5 players. Please let's keep joining. Let's keep joining. Let's see we can have up to 10 players at least so that we can have a more competitive. So guys, let's join. Let's join. Let's join. Let's join. Oh, we have 4 players now. Why? Okay, okay. I can see people already showing their signals that they are ready for the quiz. Yeah, let's see. Guys, we have about 10 people on the call. Let's listening to this. So at least if we don't have any number, we should have minimum of 10 persons. So let's just wait for a few minutes for others to join before we kickstart. Okay, welcome Abiola. Welcome Abiola. Thanks for joining. Ahaslides.com is the link, and you can join with the code DLD3A, or you can click the link directly from the chat section. And another way is to scan the barcode. So let's join. We have 6. So let's say minimum of 2 persons to go. Maybe you have 2 more persons. We just go ahead. So it's time to test what we've listened to. And all right, so we are starting now. Check your screen. What does RTO stands for in disaster recovery? I don't expect anyone to miss this, and you should know that this is the game of the fastest. So what does RTO stand for in the disaster recovery? The first option, recovery point objective, recovery time objective, recovery strategy overview, and risk and threat operation. Uh, so let's start saying, yeah, as I can see different emojis, and I can see people are really, I'm very sure you're feeling, wow, simplest of all this. Yeah, so this is to ensure that everyone is captured, both beginner material level, the questions are based on what has been presented. So let's send in our question. We have about 3, 2, 1, and time up. So let's see. Let's see who is how many people got the answer. Okay, so time is up, and so let's see how many people got the answer. Wow, Kayan. Oh, I can see Kayan, Sams, Fadmeyo. Okay, great. 97 points. So as we keep on going, so the second question out of the five, which of the following best describe RPO? Wow, the maximum amount of data loss that can be tolerated, the maximum allowable downtime for a system or application, the process of automating data backup, the time it takes to restore a backup from a disaster. I'm very sure if you're listening attentively, this shouldn't be a difficult one for you. And let's see who answers it correctly and who answers it fastest. Is a game of precision and being fast, like how fast you can answer. So uh, I want to believe we are sending in our response. Which of the following best describe RPO, recovery point objective? So, okay, I can see different emotions shared, laughing, smiling, all of the above. Time up. So let's see the answer. How many people got it? Okay, I think there is a change in the leaderboard. This is becoming interesting. Fajmeyu and Sams and Olix. Okay, this is getting interesting than expected. Wow. All right, so let's go to the third question. Why is automated recovery important in disaster recovery planning? Wow. So, why is it important? First, it reduces the need for disaster recovery planning. It increases the risk of human error during recovery. It helps minimize downtime and data loss. It is a cost effective alternative to traditional recovery method. So, let's see who has the correct answer in the fastest of time. I think the battle is still ongoing, and in the past, we've seen people come from rare back to become the leader. Oh, so fast! Everyone has answered. So let's see the answer and see who is in the winning position as we go ahead with the quiz. All right. Wow. 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 Okay. I think Fad Mayor is serious about this, and Olex is saying, I'm here. Don't relax. Okay. We'll see this to the end. We'll see this to the end. Definitely. Sams and Karian, you got it. Two more questions. Don't give up. Okay, the next question. What should an organization do after selecting a recovery solution for disaster recovery? One, conduct a risk assessment, configure the recovery solution to meet specific needs, implement automated data backup, skip testing, and proceed directly to deployment. So start sending your answer, start sending your responses. Remember, accuracy, precision, and how fast, very important to be successful in this quiz. All right, I can see different emotion. Are we going to answer? Is everyone going to answer before the end of time? I'm hoping so, because if you followed the lecture, I'm very sure the way Mr. Raphael emphasized on this thing, you should just be saying the answer directly and forget about the distractions, which are the incorrect answers. All right, about 5 seconds to go, and 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Let's see. Who is there? Okay. Okay. The leaderboard is as it is. Fudge Mayor real main business. And Olis is saying, I'm here. Let's see. Well, the last question: which of the following is not a recommended best practice for implementing automated recovery processes? One, regular test the recovery solution. Use scripting and automation tools to automate repetitive tasks. Document recovery processes for reference. Keep RPO and RTO requirements vague to allow flexibility. Which of the following is not a recommended best practice for implementing automated recovery process? For I can see for those that paid attention and they could able to read in between the lines, they are already smiling as they've cited the answer. That's actually something interesting to know when you've seen the answer and just, oh, this is you. I got you. So is it going to be Fad Mayor? Is it going to be Alex? Let's see. Let's see. Wow, let's see. So wow, wow, wow. This is it. This was what I was talking about. Olis, congratulations. Congratulations. You didn't give up. You keep on pursuing. And yeah, you get your reward. Congratulations to everyone. We are all winners. Like I said, it's about accuracy and time. And this is so interesting. Wow, wow, Ole. So, Oles, we congratulate you for this great feat, and I will want you to send your details to the address above, to the email address, your LinkedIn profile, your email address, your phone number, your Twitter, and to the email as you see. Please ensure you do that today, and ensure you do that today. Very important, very important. And also, I would also like to encourage everyone to join different social media platforms of the of our study group. Please follow this link to join and also engage the post that we share on this. So please, it's good. And as the study session continues next week, we'll be having two very interesting and educating topics to talk about. And the first one that we'll be holding on the next week Monday, will be integrating security checks into IAC templates using AWS CloudFront, integrating security checks into IAC infrastructure as code templates using AWS platform. I trust you don't want to miss this. So set your calendar, register, and put it in your reminder. And also on Tuesday, we'll be looking at audits, monitor and analyze logs and metrics to detect issue. So if you check the chat box, you will have seen the links to register for this event. Please, you don't want to miss this event. Please try to register and look forward to it. It's a great time to have you all. Once again, I want to thank Mr. Raphael. Thank you for the insightful session. Thank you for the enthusiastic session. I love the way you presented enthusiastically, and the case scenario that I gave really buttressed a lot of things that you said. I really have learned a lot, and I believe so as others that have joined us today. It's so great to hear from you, and we look forward to learn from you in upcoming sessions. This is a message from myself and every other person listening to us now. So once again, I want to thank everyone for joining us, and it's a wrap here. It's a wrap here. Olex, congratulations once again. I love the momentum you gave the quiz, not leaving anything on top, not giving up. Don't forget to send your details. Don't forget to send your details to the right Olex with 378 points. Don't forget to send your details to the email shared earlier with your LinkedIn profile, phone number, Twitter handle, email address, and a passport photograph. Don't forget. So, till next week, stay safe. Ensure you put in your RTO and RPO objective into place. Ensure it's well automated so that your organization can work at the best level. And I look forward to seeing you all in the next study sessions. Thank you very much. Thank you. And do have a great remaining part of your week. All right. Bye. Bye.